How's it going, guys? Nintendo Enthusiast here. Today we're going to be talking about SnowRunner on Nintendo Switch, but today I'm not the Nintendo Enthusiast that's going to tell you. AK Raming reviewed the game over on our website, and he's going to tell you all about it. So without further ado, AK, take it away.
Thank you for the intro, Brett. What I can say is that a lot of Switch ports have taken a significant amount of time to release after the other versions, and yet in so many cases the end result that we get in terms of quality doesn't really seem to justify that extra time. But this title, SnowRunner, is easily one of the most optimized Switch ports that I've played to this day. Let's take a look as to why. A few years ago, Saber Interactive officially got me and a considerable number of other people addicted to the wonderful world of virtual off-roading with the release of MudRunner. It quickly became a genre-defining hit, renowned for its authentic, sim-like physics, which provide a frustrating yet very fun challenge that had players roughing and toughing it through the backwoods of Russia and the USA. Now we have SnowRunner. It expands upon this formula dramatically with significantly larger, more dynamic maps, a greater variety of missions, a sizable number of new vehicles from new manufacturers, and, as the name suggests, the inclusion of snow-covered terrain. With so many new things under its hood, I wasn't quite surprised when SnowRunner initially released back in 2020 with no Switch version to speak of. I basically thought that the game just had too much for the hybrid to handle. But some way, somehow, Saber Interactive has managed to pull off what has now turned out to be a really well-built port. Though, as expected, there are a few caveats. Before jumping into the Switch-specific differences, I first want to get any newcomers up to speed. In SnowRunner, your overall goal is to build an arsenal of powerful transport vehicles that will be tasked with taking on the cruel terrain of various maps across the USA, such as Michigan and Alaska, and also in Russia. Each map contains a variety of missions, with there being roughly 3 types. The most simple type of mission are called tasks, which often involve clearing out road hazards such as fallen objects like rock slide debris. You do this by acquiring materials and then delivering them to the danger site. Performing tasks often opens up pathways which will then make navigating the map a little easier. Another type of task includes contests, which are timed events that usually involve getting from point A to point B in a specified amount of time. On the larger scale, there are contracts. These are assigned by different employers and will often involve the transport and delivery of cargo from one part of a map to another. Building on top of that are the regional contracts, which function similarly but turn the heat up by having you transport large goods across even greater distances, such as from one region of an area to another using the interconnecting tunnels. Missions can be completed in any order you see fit, although some of the larger contracts will be locked away until you hit certain requirements. As you progress, you'll gradually earn more cash and also XP, and the XP is used to increase your driver rank. Leveling up your driver rank is important because it allows you to gain access to better trucks and upgrades, though some trucks and upgrades must be located in specific maps. There are 5 different types of trucks, but 4 all play the same role. That's the highway, heavy, heavy duty, and off-road trucks. All of the trucks in these classes are large and used to transport cargo, but have slight differences. Well, really, the biggest difference is that highway trucks are the weakest performers due to their poor off-road capabilities, and heavy trucks are used for the most largest loads. Everything else falls in between. The final type of truck are the Scouts, which are small utility vehicles that are beasts both on and off the road. They're used for scouring around the map, wedging through tight spaces, and climbing the steepest, most narrow paths. While they're not very good for hauling goods, they're essential for the reconnaissance that you'll have to complete every time you enter a new area. Getting more capable machines is the key to making steady progress through SnowRunner. At the very beginning of the game, your trucks will be basic and underpowered, and outfitting them with upgrades is a slow and steady process, just like the gameplay itself. Just as was the case with the aforementioned MudRunner, SnowRunner features a lot of going nowhere fast. But that's what makes this experience so addictive. There's just something satisfying about wiggling your way out of a dicey situation, even if it did take you several minutes to do so. Honestly, my sense of time passing tends to warp completely away every time I sit down to play SnowRunner. This game just does such a great job at getting you immersed in its open maps, and the fact that they're more dynamic than its predecessor makes everything feel better. With so many objectives to complete, parts to collect, and areas to scout out, SnowRunner is packed with layers of content to enjoy. And the fact that this is all now on Switch means that you can take the experience anywhere. Yes, we finally arrived at the big deal about this port, the Switch difference. I must say, when this title was surprise revealed a few weeks ago, just as was the case with MudRunner, I was simply shocked to see it actually running on the Nintendo Switch. Having now viewed the game in person, side by side to the PC version no less, I'm happy to report that Saber has produced a very competent port. Let's get the limitations out of the way. Yes, the resolution is a bit fuzzy, and the texture quality has taken a noticeable hit. Special effects like light shafts and fog are missing, shadows look blotchy, and reflections are scaled back, and the frame rate is locked to only 30 FPS. But for a Switch title, this all works really well. The visual degradation isn't as extreme as we've seen in some other games, and the overall product still looks really impressive. Now, of course, I prefer the better graphics of the PC version, but the most important thing remains true here on Switch. SnowRunner is still really fun to play here on the hybrid. Even playing in portable mode, it holds up surprisingly well, and that key feature that's exclusive to the Switch version will allow players to chip away at longer missions in short spurts rather than forcing them to sit down and try to complete it in one session. I just wish this title supported cross-save functionality between Switch and PC, which unfortunately it does not. The one true technical drawback of the Switch port of SnowRunner is, surprisingly, the audio. Testing it using the same pair of headphones on my laptop and on the Switch, I can tell that the quality has taken a hit, possibly due to compression. But what the real issue is that some important sound effects, like the engines of the trucks of all things, just simply fail to loop smoothly. This results in an annoying pop noise every few seconds when the track starts to repeat itself. Some sound effects don't play when they ought to, leaving pockets of awkward silence. If anything, I hope that this is all just a bug rather than an actual sacrifice that the developers had to make. Now, despite these limitations, SnowRunner on Switch can rightfully be declared as a late but great kind of port. For once, this is a rare occasion where Switch owners actually have their patience respected. Considering the complexity of SnowRunner simulation, the foliage density of its maps, and the high quality exterior and interior models of these beautifully designed trucks, the fact that this is all somehow running on a 7-inch tablet with hardware from over a half decade ago is simply amazing to me. This is a feature for feature port, and so there's nothing that Switch owners are missing out on compared to the other platforms. Rather, there's only the one key addition of portable play. So, is picking up SnowRunner worth it on Switch? By all means, definitely give it a try if you're a fan of driving simulators.